Good morning, students. I hope you all are well. Let's we continue our chapter Women, Caste and Reforms. In our previous classes, we discussed about the kind of social evils which prevail in Indian society and the reasons responsible for it. And there were a large number of that section of society also exist educated section which work to improve the condition of women in society. In this, the social reformers we discussed earlier as a Raja Rama Roy, which known from the eastern India. Now the second name as a Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Chandra Vidyasagar. It was a well-known person which worked for the girl education. It was one of the most important supporters who worked for the enlightenment of women. He was basically as the Sanskrit scholar, but basically he belonged from the poor family. But still he joined as he gained as an education at the higher level and became as the principal of Sanskrit college. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Because of their efforts, the efforts of Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, the first girls' school, it was set up in a Calcutta with the name of a Kanya Vidyalaya. Kanya Vidyalaya. Kanya Vidyalaya. The first girls' school, it was set up at Calcutta with the name of Kanya Vidyalaya by J.D. Bethune. J.D. Bethune. J.D. Bethune. It was in 1849, Kanya Vidyalaya. It was opened by the J.D. Bethune with support of the Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar in Calcutta in 1849. It was the first school of the girl in all over the India. Afterwards, the number of schools were opened by the support of other social reformers. Clear? But still, when this school it was opened in Calcutta, still the people don't want to send the girls in schools. The reasons responsible for the reasons responsible. What were the reasons responsible? Why do the parents don't want to send girls to the school? So the reasons were, first reason was mostly schools located at the far away. Schools located far away from society. That's why parents don't want to send the girls towards the schools. Second, as they thought that schools they would away the girls from the household duties, household domestic duties. From such duties, the girls it will be as a move away because of the schools. Household duties. Household duties. And third reason responsible why do the parents don't want to send the girls to the schools? Because mostly they felt that the girls it would stay away from the public places. That's why the parents don't want to send the girls towards the stay away from public places. Parents want to segregate or isolate the girls from the public places. Clear? That's why the parents don't want to send the girls to the schools, even when such schools were allocated by the Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar with the support of the Britishers. Clear? Now the next. Afterwards, Eastern India, now the Northern India, the social reformers of Northern India, in which the prominent name come out as the Dayanand Saraswati. Dayanand Saraswati, which was founded as a Arya Samaj in 1875 in Uttar Pradesh. In Uttar Pradesh, it was founded as the Arya Samaj. Like as the Brahmo Samaj, Arya Samaj also worked for the upliftment of women in society. Specifically, it worked for the widow remarriages. So in Arya Samaj, Dayanand Saraswati, as the founder of the Arya Samaj, he strongly opposed child marriages and favored widow remarriages. Under his leadership, the Arya Samaj ran several widow homes and established Kanya Gurukuls for educating women. But one of the section of the society, it was strongly opposed this practice, which was followed by the Dayanand Saraswati as a widow remarriages. These were not considered as good for the society by the such old orthodox Indians, which followed as a rigid custom of the religion. Dayanand Saraswati, it wrote a book titled as a Satya Prakash in order to spread the knowledge of the Vedas and to educate people on the qualities of God. Qualities in the sense that the God don't want to make as a discrimination between as a male and a female. It considered the both male female as the equally. Such ideas, these were formulated under that book wrote by the Dayanand Saraswati, Satya Prakash. Name of a book is a Satya Prakash. Clear? Afterwards, the northern India now moved towards the western India. Western India, in which the important name coming ahead as the Pandita Ramabai. Pandita Ramabai. The original name of that lady, it was as the Pandita Rana Devi. It was original name, but she is also known as the Pandita Ramabai also. Pandita Ramabai. She's basically worked for the girl education. She thought that the only education is the way through which the girls or the women, they can improve their standard in society. They can protect themselves from all those social evils which existed in India from the Vedic age towards the present in time. She thought that if a girl is educated, it means a complete generation is educated. This was the ideology of Pandita Ramabai. For this, she wrote she wrote in many of the newspapers, and she also wrote as books, in which she states that the girl education is only a way through which a girl it can protect themselves. Clear? In Pune, Pandita Ramabai established the Sharda Sadan. Sharda Sadan. In Pune, she set up as the Sharda Sadan to provide accommodation and help to the widows. Due to their efforts, Indian women began to enter in universities, and some of them trained to be doctors and some as the teachers. So this was the main contribution of Pandita Ramabai for the girl education. Clear? So these were the women reforms. Now the turn of a caste reforms. Caste and social reforms. Social reforms. Social reforms. So, in a colonial period, or when we are talking about a pre-colonial period, in Indian society, it was strictly followed the casteism. Rigid casteism prevailed in Indian society. That casteism, it was a result of the custom of the Vedic age as Varna system, which you read in your previous classes. In 6th standard, you read about it. Varna system. Varna system, in which the castes, these were formulated on the basis of the occupations, the duties or the work which were done by the people for the earning of their livelihood. On this Varna system, there were four castes were there: Brahmin, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and the Shudras. The condition of a Shudras, it was as critical, depressing, and they suppressed by the upper caste, basically as a Brahmin and a Kshatriyas, they suppressed them in society. To protect such kind of a people which suppressed, or which were normally called as untouchables. Untouchables. These were called as untouchables. That community which belonged from the Shudra or the untouchables, these were totally isolated from the rest of the three sections of society. Means Brahmin, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas. These untouchables or the Shudras, these were discriminated in many of the ways. What were the ways? Now the question arises here, what were the ways to which the untouchables they treated in society? So what were the ways were there? For example, the first was they were not allowed to be a part of a public ceremonies. Untouchables not allowed to be the part of public ceremonies. Clear? Second, intercaste marriages not allowed. Intercaste marriages not allowed. Marriages not allowed. When we are talking about the first two class, Brahmin and Kshatriyas, intercaste marriages were allowed. But for these lower two sections, Vaishyas and the Shudras, the intercaste marriages, these were the two strictly prohibited in that particular section. Next one, these castes, these untouchables, these were not allowed to be live with the other castes in cities. They basically as living as outskirts of the cities, as isolated. They basically living as the isolated in society. These such untouchables. The caste system had taken ugly forms and had led to segregation and stratification of Indian society. These unjustifiable evils led to the various reformist movements in the 19th century. The question of a caste was central to most of the projects of social reforms, as rigidly the caste system was the fountainhead of other evils like untouchability. The caste reform processes were largely influenced by rational thoughts, Western encounters, modern education, and ideals of humanism, rationalism, and religious universalism. This awakening had different stands, such as combating the conservative elements, adoption of Western education system, and legal reforms and social work. Clear? So the different number of social reformers which we will learn in ahead as the Jyotirao Phule, the role of Jyotirao Phule for the improvement of such untouchables, the role of Mahatma Gandhi. Clear? Third one as a Narayan Guru, and fourth one as a Periyar, and the fifth one as a Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, how they worked for the protection of untouchables from the discrimination. Clear? Now the important reformers, social reformers which work for the protection of people from casteism, in which the first name has coming ahead as a Narayan Guru. Narayan Guru, it was known as the well-known saint and social reformer against of the casteism. He born in Thiruvananthapuram of Kerala. In 1856, he born in Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. His father was a Sanskrit teacher, knowledgeable in astrology, Ayurvedic medicine, and epics of Hinduism. Sri Narayan Guru is talked of by the biographers as a reticent boy who was intensely drawn to the worships at a temple adjacent his house. He was founded as a Satnami movement in which he challenged to those Brahmanical texts in which states that the casteism it should be as a part of the society. So the Narayan Guru, he revolted against the Brahmanical dominance and thereby transformed the social face of Kerala. He was revered for his Vedic knowledge, poetic proficiency, openness to views of others, non-violent philosophy, and his unrelenting resolve to set right social wrongs. His message to humanity was one caste, one religion, one God for human beings. In 1903, he founded the Sri Narayan Dharma Paripalana Yogam. Shri Narayan, Shri Narayan Dharma Paripalan Yojana, in which he states he basically has preached or taught to the people regarding that positive part of old historical religious books which consist that which mark that the all the mankind it has the born from the one soul. So the existence of a casteism is not the part of a Indian society. Clear? Jyotirao Phule, now the next one, next social reformers which worked against of the casteism as a Jyotirao Phule. Jyotirao Phule basically belonged from the family of flower sellers. He strictly opposed as the such texts, such Brahmanical texts which states that the casteism is the part of Indian society. He attacked the Brahmins' claim that they were superior to others since they were Aryans. He argued that Aryans, being foreigners, had no rights to land and power, which actually belonged to the indigenous low caste people or the so-called Shudras. So as per the records, the Aryans they came from the Europe towards India around the 1500 BC. How can we say that it was a states that by the Jyotirao Phule that this is not possible that though that community which is coming from the foreign towards India, these are the for permanent settlers. Permanent settlers were the low caste people which were known as the Shudras at that time, as we learned earlier in a Varna system. Clear? He suggested that all low caste people should unite and challenge caste discrimination. In 1873, he founded the Satyashodak Society. 1873, it was founded as the Satyashodak Society. Satyashodak Society or a Samaj founded by the Jyotirao Phule in 1873, an organization whose primary aim was to improve the conditions of oppressed classes and propagate the idea of equality. Among all castes, he gave great importance to education because he realized that the Brahmins dominated the lower castes by keeping them illiterate. He founded a library for the low caste people and a school for low caste girls. The important role of Jyotirao Phule as the book which was wrote by the Jyotirao Phule named as the Gulamgiri, in which he states that the condition of those slaves, gulams, which worked under the suppression of above three castes of a Varna system, Brahmin, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas. It was a detailed description and showing that what conditions faced by the Shudras or the untouchables in society. Clear? Next social reformers as Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, which is also known as Baba Sahib Ambedkar or Bhimrao Ambedkar. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, it basically belonged from, it worked for the protection of the people from the caste discrimination. He belonged from the Mahar family, Mahar caste. He belonged from Mahar caste. During their childhood time, he experienced the prejudice when he go towards a school where he was not allowed to sit as similar to the those child which were belong from the upper class, even not allowed to take as a water, drink water from the task. So B.R. Ambedkar, as their experience in a childhood age, he strongly opposed casteism uh, and opposed this kind of a custom in society. He devoted his entire life to fighting against caste oppression. He founded the Scheduled Caste Federation. Scheduled Caste Federation. 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 In 1927, he was started as the Temple Entry Movement. Temple Entry Movement. Temple Entry Movement in Maharashtra. Near Pune, he was started as a Temple Entry Movement for the such people, such Mahar class people which were not allowed to go towards a temple. In this movement, he was set up the first temple for the Mahar community in 1935. In the year of 1935, it was founded as the first temple, separate temple for the Mahar community. The Ambedkar studied law economics at the London School of Economics. After his return to India, he started a weekly journal named as the Mook Nayak. Mook Nayak. A weekly journal which was published by the Bhimrao Ambedkar regarding as through their writings to prove that the casteism is not the part of Indian society. It should be as a strictly removed from the Indian society. Clear? So this much for the today. Clear? So this was the roll up.